Welcome to Now Click Play, the official podcast of Jim'sToyBox.com, where we celebrate the people, places, and things that make life a lot more fun. I'm Jim Bumgarner. On this episode, we put together a show that can only be introduced one way.
You wanted the best. You got the best. The most collectible band in the world, Kiss.
Sure, most bands have t-shirts and posters, but how many can also boast those plus action figures, lunchboxes, belt buckles, makeup kits, caskets, and so much more? Now, many have scoffed at the Kiss merchandising machine, but with a rabid and loyal fan base that swelled to numbers in the millions over the span of 4 decades all over the world, who can fault them for wanting to help keep their fans connected with the band in so many unique and interesting ways that cater to about any taste or preference one can imagine? But it's not just that variety of collectibles that led to this particular podcast journey for me. See, the bigger motivator is the inspiration that's come from Kiss in both music, art, and of course, play. Now, I know those 4 electrifying superheroes of rock inspired me to pick up a guitar when I was just a wee little lad, but even more so, their dedication to entertainment and respect for the fans showed me, as an adult, that in all things one must demand that you personally serve up the best that you've got for those that cater to you. For me, it has been radio, television, and now the online audience. Thank you very much. Now, you can keep your self-help gurus and positive-thinking memes and just go buy a Kiss album. It's far more motivating and has a much better beat. Now, over the span of the next hour, I'd like to introduce you all to some of my old and new pals in the Kiss Army, from collectors, customizers, industry insiders, and a real-life action figure. So hold on, because we are most certainly going to rock and roll all night and party every day. Let's start this Kiss Army mobilization by talking with my great pal, the original Mitten Box Man, Tom, who some of you may know as a regular over at the forums, over at the MegoMuseum.com website. He's also a guest reviewer here at Jim'sToyBox.com. Now, Tom and I share a deep love and appreciation for Kiss and Megos, and it was so cool that when we were talking about this topic, that Tom's Kiss-Mego connection not only goes way back, it's actually still in his collection. For me, the first item I remember getting as a Kiss thing was in '78. I got the Colorform set. I had asked Santa for the Mego dolls, but that didn't work out. But I got the Colorform set, and that's the first one I remember. What was your very first Kiss item?
Outside of the albums, the very first thing that I got that was exclusive to Kiss was actually the Mego dolls, and I still have those same 4 dolls boxed.
Wow.
But here's the fun part and the sad part. I ordered them from Heroes World, which was the comic book catalog for all things Mego back in the day. So when I got them, what a lot of people don't know or may not remember is that when the people at Heroes World processed these orders, they put them in however they could get them into a package. So if that meant tearing up the package, that's what they did, because they figured, well, you just wanted the toy inside. So when I got them, I had 2 perfectly carded boxes of Ace and Peter. And they were just sent to me in a padded envelope, sadly enough, but they were fine, no damage. My other ones, for whatever reason, they cut the flaps on both of them and just taped it together on the side and just kind of taped everything around and threw them in another padded envelope, and that's how I got those. So even though I still have my originals as they came, they were, 2 of them were pre-destroyed for me. So that's kind of a shame. I never was able to, I didn't have the presence of mind back then to worry about the boxes per se. So I didn't give it any sort of thought outside of, well, geez, so that's why they destroy these. But I didn't think about them becoming collector's items at that point.
Of course, these days, collectors would lose their minds with such a terrible shipping tragedy, and my condolences still to you, Tom. But I completely understand. Another fellow collector that I just recently met on the Kiss Collectors group page on Facebook is Wade Lucas, who's not only a Kiss collector, but also the co-host of the Live at 805 Spike and Drew podcast that you can check out at 805liveshow.com, all one word there. Wade had a great insight as to why Kiss was able to latch on to all of us with such a tight grip.
Well, I think my story is a lot like a lot of everybody else's. When I was young, I saw the Paul Lennon Halloween special, and just being a little kid in the 70s, that was just this crazy thing with these superhero rock stars, just bigger than, larger than life, if I may say, icons. I instantaneously, it just was totally gave them my devotion, just Kiss Army guy all the way. And so over the years, I've acquired things that were just special to me. To that end, I'm not I'm a collector, but I don't think of myself as one who collects to resell. Because something that may be cool and special to me might not necessarily resell good, but it means something to me, and I enjoy the collecting of it. The other thing that I think of as far as being a collector and a fan is, for some reason, and I don't get it, but the West Coast doesn't have a lot of expos, and I would love to be able to help put together a Kiss Expo in Northern California or something like that. At one time, I was able to have a tiny little private message session with Lydia Chris, saying that if it got ever put together, that we could contact her and she'd appear at it. And I was just giddy as hell that she would even take my private message. And so those are kind of that's the crux of what I find myself as being a fan and collector.
What can you pull from everything to say is your favorite piece?
Well, let me tell you about that. I just acquired that last year, and what it was the German back glass from a pinball machine. I went to a pinball expo in Dixon, California, and just walking through the different booths and tables and stuff, and there's a guy, and I kind of caught like the quarter edge of all these like back glasses that he has, and I'm like, is that a Kiss one? And he just nonchalant about it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's got the German lettering because they don't do the lightning bolt S's. And he says, well, how much? And I asked him, how much do you want for it? And he said $200, and I'm like, are you kidding me? $200? It's a steal. And grab it right on the spot. I had a frame made at one of the local frame stores or whatever. Threw in some LEDs behind it, and it's now hanging up in the control room of that I use to broadcast it.
You can see a pic of that amazing piece from Wade's collection at jimstoybox.com, or even better, tune in to his Live at 805 podcast with Spike and Drew at 805liveshow.com. Another collector that I connected with thanks to the Kiss Collectors group on Facebook is Jonathan Fenno. If there was anyone I could say is worthy of the title hardcore collector, Jonathan certainly earns that distinction. Now, we chatted about one of his most prized pieces as well as a super cool and rare piece that he's going after.
My favorite piece is, if I have to pick between my Japanese Ace Frehley tour jacket, Peter Criss's Love Gun tour vest, the first Kiss promo poster all autographed to me, and my Coventry poster all autographed to me, I'd have to probably pick the Coventry poster all autographed to me that I purchased from Randy Piper of Lost.
Wow. Very cool. So now when it comes to the Coventry poster, how did that come about?
Randy Piper was friends with Peter Criss and Rick Fox in the early 70s in New York, and Ace Frehley, actually, when he got in the band. And Randy collected everything he loved about Kiss from, late 73 till about, I think, Rock and Roll Over, and then he gave up. He said they going too commercial. And I ran into him in Las Vegas, actually at Lake Mead, with Mark Slaughter's best friend, a big kiss collector, Pat Lucero. And Randy was sitting with tongs in his hands and toasting Pop-Tarts over a hibachi. and Pat said, "Hey, that's Randy Piper of Lost." And I said, "You're kidding me." And he said, "No, go talk to him." And I did, and we were talking about when he toured with Kiss, and he said, "Hey, I'm kind of broke, and I'm looking to sell my Kiss collection." And about 3 months later, I went back to his house in Vegas, because I was living in San Francisco, and I came home with basically a hefty garbage bag full of Kiss stuff, and everything was before 1977.
There's still got to be that holy grail out there. What is it? I mean, you've got some high caliber stuff going on. So what's still eluding you?
The holy grail to me is a poster 99.5 of all the Kiss fans in the world have not seen. It's called The Great Kiss Off. And that was the kissing contest that was in, I think, 4 or 5 cities. But the Great Kiss Off poster was only made from WPIX, the New York radio station. And it's an open mouth that's printed in black, but the background is sort of like a sea green and a lime green. And it says The Great Kiss Off twice on the top. And on the bottom it says WPIX and Casablanca Records. You know, it's something I can't remember. But I've only seen one ever. My friend Mark Petrowski had it, and he split to a collector in Italy back in 1992 for over $3,000.
Wow.
That is the only one I've ever seen, and I've never even seen a photo of one till about a month ago. And my friend Kurt Gooch, who did the official touring history of Kiss book, he purchased it from someone who actually has one still, and he's going to put it up for auction.
You can check in with Jonathan on Facebook to see how the auction went, as well as seeing his incredible collection. Now, our next journey on this look at Kiss Collectibles finds us asking the question, but what if they didn't make it? Well, that's where my pal Vince Reyes comes in. He's a real-world Geppetto and has the Facebook page to prove it. Now, I've admired his custom action figure work for a long time, and his Kiss creations are truly amazing and highly sought after. Now, this show gave me the opportunity to talk to Vince about what it was that got him into creating such fun and amazing works of Kiss art.
As a kid, like most customizers, they didn't like what they got at the store, so they just kind of upgraded when they got home. Maybe did a take on the boots or whatever. But for me, personally, right now on this Kiss thing, I was doing superheroes because I noticed folks on eBay doing them, and I was like, wow, I used to do that. I like to do that. So I started that, and then one gentleman from Texas actually emailed me and said, have you ever thought about doing any Kiss figures, because I would really like some custom Kiss figures. And I was in the middle of doing a lot of like the superhero stuff, and I kind of put it off for about 7 months. And when I was just on the very end of making my first customs, that's when the Pharaoh put out his customs on the thing. And then it's like the eBay and the internet went wild on him, and it was that's how it was born, really.
Ah, very good. Well, yeah, and the Pharaoh's work is, man, it's been amazing.
Yeah, that was, people just went crazy.
So far, what's been your favorite piece that you've done inside of the realm of the Kiss stuff?
As funny as it was, I was a Peter Criss fan growing up, but through customizing, I've actually gotten to be a Gene Simmons fan. So I would have to go with Gene and all his outfits. Second to him, Paul.
Wow, well, that's
yeah.
Cool. You like, and I enjoy how you do the hairy chests on Paul.
Yeah, the chest. One guy wrote me and said, "Hey, you put a chest wig on him."
Well, you need
I thought that was pretty funny. That was a couple of years back, and I never heard anybody call it a chest wig. And I was getting a couple comments going, like, they would spell "ew," like the EW. So I started taking off the chest hair, just kind of putting the customs out without chest hair, and then. Just as of late, the last maybe year and a half, I went back to the hairy chest, just for the detail.
And if you would like to find out how you can get one of Vince's amazing creations made to order, connect with him on Facebook via his Geppetto's Custom Figures page. You can also find the links at jimstoybox.com. Now, one of the things that make me smile even more than action figures and Kiss and any of the other flights of fancy are serendipitous moments that come along in a production. Now, that type of serendipity came into play on this show when, after chatting with Vince, the idea struck me to talk up a person I consider to be a real-life Kiss action figure. That would be Robert Bentley with the tribute group Kiss Resurrection. I'll get to that moment of serendipity in just a few, but first I'd like to introduce you to Robert. Now, I became aware of him after he posted a video of himself in full jean attire, but breathing fire. Now, anyone could slap on the makeup and the boots, but to go the full 9 into swishing kerosene around in one's mouth, well, that, my friends, is admirable and exciting. So I started following the man behind the makeup and discovered that not only was this fellow a dedicated entertainer and performer, but also a genuinely great dude. Ladies and gentlemen, my pal, Robert Bentley.
Back in the 90s, I was actually a stagehand, seamstress, pyrotechnician, stage manager, everything they needed. I was that guy. And lo and behold, years later, he's going to help me get my feet wet. But I remember when their shows would be over, how people would come up, and talk to them, and I would see the look in these people's eyes. So now here I am, and one day he said to me, he said, when the shows are over, people, come up to you and, make them feel warm, make them feel happy, because you're probably, if they haven't met the real Kiss, you're probably going to be the closest thing that they'll ever get to meeting them. So for me, not trying to knock other people who do this, but I grew up seeing how Gene moved, the way he would turn his head, the way he would point, the way he would move his hands, or the way he would kick. So I tried to emulate the way Gene was then, so I can take, people who are our age, take them back home. And then for those that are young, give them a glimpse of seeing what Gene was really like. Now, for me, what's crazy is when somebody comes up, shows me their tattoo, and tells me, I've got you tattooed on my arm. I'm thinking, no, you have a 6'2" Jewish dude tattooed on your arm. I'm a 5'10" black man. That's not me, but I look like him. But my thing is these people are so drawn into what I'm giving that they don't even notice that I'm black. They just see this guy who they saw when they were 12, 13, 14, whatever it was, jumping in the air, and the monster that he was. So they're seeing somebody else bring that back, and they totally lose sight, man, that this is not him, unless maybe they're drunk. And they love you, man. They love you. So it's crazy.
It's funny because and being completely candid with you, when I saw the fire breathing bit, I was like, man, that's really cool. And then I was looking at some of your other pictures, and my wife and I was like, check this guy out. And I looked and I went, wait a minute, he's a black dude. And that honestly blew me away. I'm like, whoa. Wait, huh? And for whatever reasons that really jumped out, that's when I started digging into more of who Robert Bentley was, and following your personal Facebook page and things like that, because I don't know if there's a message there so much as...
Yes, there is. And I didn't necessarily intend for it, but the more I thought about it, there is a message there. And it's a long story, but I'm going to see if I can synopsis this for you. I hope I said that right. Young black kid, grew up, loving Kiss in the South. Very difficult because I caught it on both ends, from blacks and whites. I'm too white for the black kids because I like Kiss and get into rock and roll. I'm too black for the white kids because, they never met a black kid who gets into rock and roll. Now, granted, they all love Jimi Hendrix, but that's Jimi Hendrix. This is not, Nashville, Tennessee, so it's different mentality. So, catching it on both ends and, and just being a Kiss fan, period, now it's my chance to step out and say, hey, regardless of your color or anything else, we're all family. And for the little kid who grew up listening to, you know, Alive and Destroyer and all of that, and daydreaming like every other Kiss fan did, of, you know, boy, I sure would love to wear those boots. I would love to be able to do this or that. Finally, you know what? Here I am, and no smack in the face to white people, but kind of being told I couldn't, you know, and that I wasn't accepted. Well, guess what? Now you all are standing in front of me for 2 hours, but your fist pumped at me, you know, calling me a god. Well, guess what? Yeah, this kid, you know, who thought he couldn't do it, did it. And proved the point that it doesn't matter what color you are. You know, it's about being a family and representing.
See? I told you. Robert's a great guy with a great message. Now then, let's get back to my nickel word of the day. Serendipity. Well, it happened while talking to Robert about his fantastic portrayal of the Demon. The fact came up that Vince Reyes actually did a custom figure of Robert in action. Now, here's Robert describing his feelings on receiving this ultimate gift.
I tell you, that blew my mind big time. I mean, I guess with all the, you know, people who, I guess, come up to me, you know, and tell me some of the most amazing things, and, you know, I try to keep a level head about all of that stuff, you know. I mean, to me, after it's all said and done, and the makeup is off, and the shows are over, and I'm back at home, I got to get up the next day, man, and clock in and go to work. So, you know, to me, it's like, great, I'm glad I was able to give you guys something special. But then for somebody to admire me enough to actually take my idol and transform me into an action figure of him, I'm like, wow, that's almost like the ultimate compliment. It's like, yeah, I could you know, get Gene's autograph on the back of my base. That'd be great. But you know what? Here's something that nobody will ever have. Them as an action figure, you know, tributing their idol. Like, how amazing is that?
It is truly amazing. Thank you again, Robert and Vince, for making that part of the show truly magical. Again, you can reach out to Robert on Facebook to say hi, or to Vince for a custom-made Kiss action figure by way of his Geppetto's custom figure page. And you should, but you should also check out the fantastic assortment of mass-produced modern Mego-style figures from Figures Toy Company. You see, being a Kiss fan is one that lasts a lifetime. One doesn't simply stop being a fan. And the most exciting part about this aspect of fandom is when the lunatics take over the asylum. And I mean that in the most positive and electrifying way. Thanks to Tanner Monroe of Mohawk Crew Digital Media, who also happens to be the creative director at Figures Toy Company, I was able to get in touch with Chris DiPetrello, who is the chief marketing officer for Figures Toy Company, to get more of an inside scoop on how the lines came about, as well as the future of Kiss Mego-style action figures. On both counts, I was extremely pleased with what I learned from Chris.
I mean, it was a combination of both the fact that they fit in that retro mold, the Mego mold, but we're also all huge Kiss fans. Myself, Anthony, the owner of Figures Toy Company, that's probably, without a doubt, my favorite rock band, like actual rock band of all time. I've got every album. You know, I've been following them since I was a kid, and same thing with him. With him, it was a mixture of Mego connection and the fandom. As far as myself, I love doing it because it's a band that I grew up on. I was born in '80, so I was kind of at the tail end of Mego. I did have a few here and there, but I missed the true craze. So just to recapture the magic of the old sets and the kind of like the reissues of what they looked like then, and then doing these updated ones now with the awesome sculpts that Danny's doing for us, it's just great to be able to kind of work hand in hand with someone that I've, you know, looked up to my whole life.
In regards to the future, I had to ask the most lingering question that I myself have had and heard, and that being, will we see Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent in future assortments?
We haven't, and again, this is everything that's been addressed to me, so if it's an idea brewing in anyone else's head, you know, I can't speak for them, but as far as the common knowledge, the main sets being worked on right now are for Destroyer, Dynasty, and the 18-inch Love Gun. So those are the things that we're going to be releasing next. Destroyer and Dynasty will be in the both 8 and 12-inch. They'll be coming out in the coming months. As far as things like, you know, doing
Unmasked or Creatures or Look It Up or doing Vinny or Eric Carr or Eric Singer or any of those guys. There's been no specific move towards that, and I'm actually not too sure what the license calls for. I'm not sure if their likenesses could be utilized as part of the license, or if we'd have to go the extra mile and get in touch with them personally. What their relationships are. Obviously, with Eric Carr, that could be pretty tricky. I'm not sure if it's his estate that would handle it, or if there's carte blanche from KISS to do it. So I'm not too sure if we'll see anything from the non-KISS operated eras. But there would certainly be a push towards it. The best we can do is feel it out and see if those talents and if that license calls for it, and if we can do it. Because if we can, there's a demand for it. I've seen plenty of collectors saying, "Are you going to do this era? Are you going to do them without the makeup? Are we going to see, asylum costumes or something like that?" I've seen pretty much every album, every type of design thrown out there on Facebook and Twitter. So, time will tell. These 3 sets are going to come out, and then it's going to be kind of back to the drawing board so that we're not overloading ourselves with thoughts of the future. The focus is to get on Destroyer Dynasty, the new Love Gun, get those out, and then we'll take it from there.
While we may have to wait for the final word on Eric and Vinny indefinitely, I myself am pretty pacified with the new Destroyer and Dynasty sets that are coming this year. And with the 18-inch Love Gun series that's going to feature all new head sculpts instead of blown-up versions of the original Megos, my budget assures me that I'm good for now. Again, special thanks to Tanner and Chris and all the folks with Figures Toy Company for taking the time to talk with me. There's actually much more of my conversation with Chris at jimstoybox.com that you can listen to when you get the chance. Not only is it a great treat for Mego and wrestling fans, but you can also get some great insight on the company that brought back so many childhood memories and are making more, including there's some updates on some of the other licenses from Hanna-Barbera and Scooby-Doo. Hey, as we get close to the end of this celebration of KISS fandom, we have to crank up the speakers and dive into some tracks that were inspired by the band. Extra special thanks to Mark Mathiasen, another great member of the KISS Collectors group on Facebook, who answered my request and call when I was looking for those type of tunes. And boy, did he load me up. The first one out of the box that I really enjoyed is from the group Black Spiders and their track, KISS Tried to Kill Me.
Coming after you.
It was most certainly not Ace's fault. Black Spider with Kiss Tried to Kill Me on the Now Click Play podcast. Now, this next tune takes me back to when I asked Santa for Mego action figures of the band all those years ago, but as Tom and I discussed, well, it didn't work out so well for me. Maybe if I would have sung my list to Santa, I would have done as well as Joey Anderson did, and maybe I too could have gotten Paul Stanley for Christmas.
In the year of 1978, Christmas time, boy, it was great. Super Stretch and Steve Austin, besides some matrix, they were my friend. But that year was different, and no other could compare. I need a Mally, so Santa, bring him here. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you try to understand me. It's not my fault, I blame it on my dad. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you know that fairy tales, they will come true. It can happen to you when you wish upon a star child. When you wish upon a star child. That Christmas morn, I woke up to a rise. Such a sight I saw before my eyes. Hanging from a limb upon the tree was my friend Paul, Ace, Peter, and G. That year was special, no other would compare. I love it madly, it's my favorite time of year. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you try to understand me. It's not my fault, I blame it on my dad. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you know that fairy tales, they will come true. It can happen to you when you wish upon a star child. When you wish upon a star child. That year was special, no other would compare. I love it madly, it's my favorite time of year. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you try to understand me. It's not my fault, I blame it on my dad. All I want for Christmas is Paul Stanley. People, don't you know that fairy tales, they will come true. It can happen to you when you wish upon a star child. When you wish upon a star child. When you wish upon a star child.
The power of wishing on a star child. Joey Anderson and All I Want for Christmas is Paul Stanley on the Now Click Play podcast. I'm Jim Baumgartner, and as we come to a close, this next little ditty is, in my opinion, the perfect musical tribute to the band that inspired this podcast and obviously so much more. From South America's rockers, Tomalo, here's their exceptional and aptly titled track, The Hottest Band in the World.
Your love, reason to live. We love the history. She Simmons, can't you see? We are so
Tamalo with their tribute tune, The Hottest Band in the World. And that right there, my friends, is a wrap for this episode of the Now Click Play podcast. Again, special thanks to all of my guests and contributors, all the gang at Kiss Collectors, the Facebook group, including Wade Lucas, Jonathan Fenno, and Mark Mathiasen, the incredibly creative pair that is Vince Reyes and Robert Bentley, Figures Toy Company's Tanner Monroe and Chris DiPetrello, and of course my cyber brother from another mother and my main man, Tom. I appreciate each and every one of you for making this podcast possible. So until next time, I'm Jim Bumgarner inviting you to come on over to jimstoybox.com and now go play.